As experienced accountants, advisors, and specialists, we see beyond the challenges to the people behind them. We see our clients, our colleagues, and our communities, and we fuel the potential in each. We see the owners, executives, and rising stars. We see the trailblazers and the entrepreneurs. We see the cautious, the curious, and the creative. We see you, and you matter to us. It's why we do what we do each and every day. Because a passion for people is in our DNA. Because people matter.
Interrupt you guys. I know you're having a great time. Everybody have a good time, right? So good evening. I'm going to start the program. I just want to make, and it's not going to be a long program, but I warn you all, you're going to want to hear the program because if you're a startup, if you're an investor, if you have anything to do with business, you're going to want to hear and listen to all the speakers we have tonight. You got me?
I don't know.
Yes. So anyways, does everybody know me?
I just don't want. I want you to know that I'm just right on your side, so you don't
Executive Director of
land in my face.
GlobalSF, and I want to thank you all. Thank you all for coming tonight to support our GlobalSF initiative called GlobalSF Women. And why we started it, I remember when Laura came to me and said, Starlene, you've got to help women. I said, absolutely. What are the stats? She said, less than 3% of the VC go to women. I said, bullshit. And so with that, and we asked Wells Fargo for some funding. We started GlobalSF Women, and we today are working with more than 80 women in the Bay Area. I want to thank Laura for coming up with that initiative and getting us the seed funding, and Rachel Sele, for running the program now. And I'm going to hand the mic over to her.
Thanks, Darlene. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's so great to see all of you. Welcome. So, as Darlene mentioned, GlobalSF Women supports visionary women entrepreneurs. We do this by connecting them with high-quality resources, global networks, funding opportunities, and through business advising. The entrepreneurs and companies in this room tonight drive sustainable, inclusive economic growth in the Bay Area and globally. They're exactly the kinds of companies that GlobalSF Women was designed to serve. Over the past 12 months, and
I want everybody to be quiet because we're recording and I don't want to hear you in the background.
So over the past 12 months, we've quadrupled the number of women entrepreneurs that we work with, which is really exciting, and we only have plans to grow in 2023. To the women who are here, the companies and the founders who invest in represent enormous economic, social, and environmental impact, and not to mention jobs and investment in California. These entrepreneurs inspire us every day. They're working to tackle some of the most daunting challenges facing our planet, and we're really excited to be bringing some of them with us to Japan next March.
Join us!
Yeah, we're going to be expanding food innovation in Asia. Thank you to our phenomenal partners at the federal and state level. So this includes the Northern California SBDC. This is the U.S. Commercial Service, the International Trade Administration, under the U.S. Department of Commerce. And then to our other sponsors and supporters who are in the room tonight. A few of you are going to speak momentarily, but I just wanted to go ahead and name them. So we have Alaska Airlines, we have Moss Adams, we have Union Square Advisors, Pillsbury, East West Bank, BPM, Zoom Services, the San Francisco Association of Realtors, we have United Airlines, Japan Center Garage Corporation, and Recology. We look forward to growing with you, to aligning our efforts to grow our impact, and to continue working with these amazing women who are shaping the future. Thank you for supporting this work. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for making it happen. I'm going to pass it off to Candace from Alaska.
I hope you don't mind that I'm going to step on stage. I'm short, so any chance I get to be taller than other people, I'm going to take it. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all of the amazing women and men as well, and allies who are here tonight. My name is Candace Lay, and I am with the California Public Affairs team at Alaska Airlines. And it is such an honor for us to be here tonight, but also to sponsor this event because it really celebrates the amazing work that you all do every day. So I'm an immigrant myself, and I'm a daughter of refugees. And so from a very young age, I saw the struggles that my mom had to go through to provide for our family. And so I learned from a young age that sometimes passion is born out of necessity, right? Because as women, we don't always have the luxury of following our dreams because we're trying to provide for our families or we're trying to build our own financial independence, right? And so sometimes we then have to find the motivation and the passion in the things that we are forced to do out of necessity. And that was really a theme that I saw when I was reading some of the bio for the speakers that we have tonight. And I'm just so inspired at how you took the challenges that you had to overcome in your daily lives as women and turned it into solutions for your family and for your community. So with that, I'm just so inspired, and that's why I'm really also excited to be here to represent Alaska because our values are really aligned. At Alaska, we pride ourselves in being the most caring airline, and what that means is showing up and caring for our guests, our employees, but also the communities where we live and fly and serve. And specifically, we are trying to advance racial equity, and our DEI work is more than just diversifying the talent pipeline. We have a program called the Supplier Diversity Program, and so if you haven't signed up your business yet, please do. Please visit us online and learn more about how you can add your business to that list for future consideration. And if you've ever flown on one of our flights, you'll know that the snacks that are provided in flight are provided by small women-owned businesses. And if you haven't flown on our flights, first of all, tisk tisk. But I hope, we do have a special prize tonight that later at the end of the panel, so I hope that you stick around because you have to be present to win. We have a lucky drawing tonight for 2 round-trip tickets anywhere Alaska flies. So this is your chance to get on our flights and experience that first-class care that we provide to our guests. So thank you, and I'll pass it off to Emily.
My boots are slippery. I'm for sure gonna eat it. And I also don't have free airline tickets, so I feel like I'm already losing. But great to meet you all. I'm Emily. I'm with Union Square Advisors, which is a tech-focused investment bank, which you're all probably like, why are you here? This is boring, and I get that. But it's because you're entrepreneurs. And we work with entrepreneurs. We're a very small investment bank that works with young companies and founder-owned companies. And I'm the most senior woman at our firm. I'm a managing director, which is fine. But we've stuck it out together, and I'm here to tell you that there is a lot of support for what you are doing. And even in this crappy market, which we think will get better in the near term, there is capital available. Investors need to deploy it, and they want to deploy it into companies that are having impact on society. And what I guess people don't know as entrepreneurs, because it's not your day job and you should never be thinking about this, is how many different creative pools of capital there are out there, and how much sort of creativity that these investors are having such that they can meet your needs while dealing with an inflationary environment and such. So I guess that's not a plug to work with me, but it's a plug to reach out to an advisor, because you may find a solution that you could be looking for but don't know about. And also, congratulations to all of you, because you're already winners. You've done it. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Yeah? Great. Sorry, I've been talking a lot, so I lost my voice. I'll try to speak loud. I'm Wendy Wang. I'm one of the actually co-founders for GlobalSF. And I do have a day job. My day job is I'm partly in charge of Los Adams, Silicon Valley locations. So I'm very, very glad to welcome all of you to the GlobalSF Women's Reception tonight. And also on behalf of the board of GlobalSF and Los Adams, I'm just so glad. I want to thank you for joining us today in celebration of many women leaders, investors, innovators, and entrepreneurs. Providing a nurturing environment and support our women entrepreneurs and professionals is something really near dear to me. As a senior partner of Los Adams, I've been supporting women for many years. We started the program in 2007 and tried to promote more women partners in the organization. And our goal is to attract, develop, and also retain women leaders. And very, very glad we're able to support GlobalSF today because we have a common goal. And that's we spend deliberate actions in creating some inclusive environment and also create a sense of belonging for everyone, particularly women. And we're so proud to support GlobalSF initiative in their dedication to inclusive, sustainable economic growth in the Bay Area. And next, actually now I need my script. I'd now like to welcome our moderator for tonight's panel discussion. Here we go. Everyone knows Julie Castro-Abrams. And I know Julie from her effort of How Women Lead. And also, Julie is the founder and managing partner of How Women Invest, an early-stage venture firm focused on high-growth, tech-enabled, women-founded enterprises. The firm is a culmination of her lifetime of work propelling women founders to launch and find success with training, capital, and networks. And Julie brings her extensive experience identifying, supporting early-stage entrepreneurs, and also her 20 years as a CEO and board director. She brings her extensive networks, leadership, entrepreneurship experience to disruption of the venture landscape. So please join me in welcoming Julie.
Hi everyone, what a treat to be here. I have to tell you, this is my favorite event every year. I got to come last year, and there's something about, not just an event with mostly women, but women entrepreneurs and the innovators and all the cool stuff all of you are doing. It's just such a buzz and so fun. So thank you, Darlene, and thank you, Rachel, the whole team, everybody who's responsible for making this happen. Now I'd like to invite the other speakers to come up. So Julie Gordon-White from Bossa Bars, please come. That's the theme, is you have to be named Julie. And Rita, would you please come up as well? Excellent, thank you. So this is what we're gonna do. If you know me, I love keeping it real and making it and just getting to the truth, and having a lot of fun when we do it. And I'm hoping that we also have plenty of questions from you. So please start thinking about, what's on your mind. But first, if you guys wouldn't mind bearing with me, I'd love to see a show of hands. How many of you are actually an entrepreneur now? Would you raise your hand? All right, fantastic, excellent. Get to know those people. Let it rub off a little bit, because they're the fun ones, let me tell you. How many of you have invested in a startup in some way, in a venture, or, all right. Well, let's make sure every single one of you raises your hand soon. I'm just going to say another couple words because I want you to know what's important to me, and then we're going to get to doing this panel. Anybody here, I'm 55 years old. Anyone here who's like over 45? Yeah, okay. All right, I thought maybe there's some of my friends here. We are the first generation of us. We are the first generation of women who have 30 years of work experience. We have some power, we have some influence, and some wealth. Not huge necessarily, I don't, but more than women before us. And so if we are not happy about what's going on, we should change it. And when you look at what happened this year with our reproductive justice rights and so many other things, this should be a wake-up call for all of us. We have got to lock arms and change this for good. So Darlene said only 3%. Well, I think it depends on the number, because sometimes it's 2%, it doesn't matter. It's not acceptable. Of all venture dollars going to companies founded by women. Can you imagine the lost opportunity, the lost job creation, the lost innovation, and the lost wealth generation? Women return 26% more for their investors. So my invitation to all of you is to figure out how you can play in this space. Figure out how you can start investing in a startup in some way. You would be surprised. It's super easy. And so I want to plant that seed, and now we're going to talk to some entrepreneurs who are going to tell you all of the cool stuff that they're up to, and then I'm going to ask you guys some fun questions. So, Julie, would you get us started? I would love to know. You know, I've known you for 20 years, a couple years. And you, for a long time, I think when I first met you, you were coaching and teaching women how to make sure that when you sold your company, you would make real money. But today, you started yet another thing, a really kick-ass company that I have actually invested some money in. So tell us about it.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Julie Gordon-White, not Julie Castro-Abrams. So this is my third company, Boss of Bars, Menopause Energy Bars. Right? Menopause, have you heard of that? Even a man, every man here knows a menopausal woman. Okay, it's your sister, it's your mom, it's your boss, somebody. So if you don't know menopause, you're gonna get it tonight. So, at 55 during COVID, I was really uncomfortable. I was gaining weight. I didn't feel confident. My grown-up sons were home. I'm making cookies and brownies for them. I'm eating them. This is not working for me. So, and with your hormones, okay, the quick version, estrogen just drops off a cliff during the stages of menopause. Your sugar cravings are just ridiculous. And I knew I needed to make a better choice for myself, so I researched natural ingredients that I could choose that would balance my hormones, balance my blood sugar, give me fiber to keep me full, so I could get out of what I call the killer C's, cookies, candy, and chips. And then, of course, protein. And so I created a bar for myself, a snack, going in and out there. All natural, vegan, gluten-free, all the things. Only the good things. So then I shared it with what I call my Pause Pals, and they're like, Julie, this is your third company, right? I'm like, no. Yeah. So that's what I did. I formed the company. Julie and her fabulous crew at How Women Invest invested in me. I raised $500,000 in 30 days. Darlene also is an investor. And I'm really proud to say that I'm out there every single week on Instagram doing mental lounge talks, inspiring women with our bars to take care of their bodies and feel empowered by the change. And this is my third company.
All right, I married a man and I birthed one and I love them, but they would never create a menopause product. Let's be clear. We need women entrepreneurs solving the problems that women experience. Number 2, please give us your overview of what you're up to.
Hi, everyone.
My name is Ritu Narayan. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Zoom, ZU and Zoom. And I actually founded Zoom out of very personally mine, a universal parenting challenge. How do you pick up and drop off your children safely, reliably, sustainably while you're still at work or you have other commitments? And actually the origin of the idea came exactly what you said. A few years back, I was a product manager at eBay. And I was leading the seller platform which connects 4 million sellers to 250 million customers. Everything worked like a magic. People could earn money in any part of the world. But in my personal life, I was facing severe challenges every time my young one transitioned to preschool, and every time the transportation would fall, it would be like, I'm gonna leave my job. That was the state I was in. And I had this realization that my mom, who was an educator 30 years back, she left the job for the exact same reason in India. And I'm sitting here in Silicon Valley thinking of leaving my job for the exact same reason. And it was a point where my passion became more than the fear, and jumped in, interviewed hundreds of parents to understand what the real challenge was. Original idea was to serve the customers and end parents, and over the time, idea evolved, and today we actually work with districts to modernize their system. I'll talk more about it, but we've come a long way. We are a growth stage post-Series D company.
Thank you very much. So you're post Series D, and Julie, what stage are you?
What are we? Seed.
But I always want to demystify the lingo, right? So when you think about a company that's started but needs to sort of build out their product or service, they need to sort of get their framework going. That's generally what you think of as a seed stage company. You might start getting your first clients even. But then, when you're really ready to grow, to pivot, and start to really scale up your company, hire lots of people, that's when you start hearing the words like Series A, Series B, Series C. Now, we know that women in general are not getting very much venture funding, and there is what they call a cliff at Series B. Like, there's a lot of challenges along the way. Ritu is one of the most exciting ceiling breakers we have. So congratulations. So with that as a backdrop, let's talk a little bit about, what does it feel like? What is it like? You're in a position right now where you just started relatively recently during COVID, and you're sort of pivoting and figuring it all out, and that's what a seed stage company is usually doing. Talk a little bit about sort of some of the fun pivots that you've had, and sort of what are the things that you're working on, Julie?
Yeah, I love what you talked about, surveying your customers to find out what they want, and that's what happens a lot at the seed level, is you're working towards product market fit to make sure what you're offering is exactly what your customers want. And you have to do some iterations, and for me in consumer packaged goods, CPG, that could be packaging, that could be calling out different attributes that we initially thought women wanted, but then they wanted something else. It could be the size of the pack. It could be, we thought they wanted to buy it on our site, but really they want to go to Amazon. So learning all these things along the way, trying to make the fewest mistakes as possible, but this is the time so you can really figure it out and lock it in before you start to really deploy capital to scale things up.
So, Julie, in the very beginning, you reached out to friends, and Julie's unique because everybody loves her and everybody knows Julie. But in 30 days, she raised $500,000. That's pretty amazing for something that's barely started. For menopause, right? I think we were all so desperate. We were like, yes, please fix the problem. Okay, the audio is a little bit goofy. So Julie, you started with friends. How did you actually sort of realize, okay, I can go package this and ask people to invest in me? What was that like? Because that takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of courage to reach out to people who've known you for a long time and say, put your hard-earned money here.
Well, I started by putting my own hard-earned money in first because I felt it was important that I had a good chunk of skin in the game, so they knew I was serious. And then, I just decided if I believe so passionately about this, menopause is a $600 billion emerging market. Why wouldn't I tell my friends about it? Why wouldn't I let them in? Especially men. They talk about investments on the golf course and wherever they're hanging out. So why wouldn't I tell women who actually know what menopause is? Why wouldn't I invite them along to have this opportunity for something really, really exciting? So I felt like I could not invite them.
I love that. That's beautiful. So like in your bones, true believer, this is a gift I'm giving to other people to get to be part of going along for the ride. All right, 3-2. Post-Series D, this is really exciting. So can you talk just a little bit about your capital journey and sort of what are the things you learned that we can, what tips do you have for us? What are the things that you've learned along the way?
It's very interesting. My husband told me when I was starting the company, only reason you will fail, you will give up. As long as you don't give up and you get up in the morning and keep doing, it'll succeed. And I was like, that's easy. That's what I've been doing all my life. I'll give up. And most women here are similar in whatever field they have been doing. So similar to early funding, initially it was self-funded. We didn't have even money for Facebook or Google Ads. I started going to schools, saying, I know one of your parents is leaving the job and just doing pickup of drop-off of your kids. Would you like to promote us to your parents? And the school said, we are a non-profit, we may not be able to promote you, but could you do some use cases for us? And that was just a unique insight which I was not even thinking about. I got my first contract of just $50,000 in 2016 from a private school, and I thought, wow, I don't have to go ride by ride. I have $50,000 in one go. And then I started going to all the schools. 2018, our largest contract was $1 million. Today, our largest contract is $400 million with the second largest school district. So what I'm trying to get you is for funding, continuing to see the market, where the market is going, what would investors want in your market, what metrics would you hit, and then being overly optimistic and pitching and preaching about it. In the early stages, our customers were such big fans of us, they were very afraid if we stopped. What would they do? How would they go back to job? Would they leave job? They wanted to fund us in the seed round. And we especially work with Funders Club to make them accredited investors to be able to fund in it. So initial stages, it's like whoever is the biggest fan invest in you. And then in Series A, we got very fortunate that Sequoia Capital, after knocking lots of doors, they really liked us and they invested in us. And after that, that set the journey for us.
So that one investor walking across the line and then they started bringing other people in, I assume?
That's right.
Yeah.
And just learning the ropes from them.
Yeah.
And getting more and more confidence. It never gets easy at any stage, but it gets easier.
So Rachel, but you got $50,000 as a contract very early on. A lot of people would have said like, hey, I'm going to grow this organically. I don't want to take anyone else's money because when you take venture funding, there's some pressure to produce in certain ways because they have to pay back their own investors, right? Can you talk a little bit about that decision-making process where you decided, yep, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get venture funding?
Yes, the choices are there. I always thought this could be a category defining. The need is so big across the country, across everywhere you go in the world. And to grow it at a scale and the size that we wanted, it was very clear that we had to get the venture funding.
So it's really about fueling the scale. And so you could have kept it small, but and people were basically telling you, you're saving my life. I got that. Otherwise, I got to quit my job. How many people in this room are immigrants? Yay! All right. Immigrants, by definition, are courageous, risk-taking, and have all kinds of amazing attributes just because you immigrated, that you had the courage and the risk taking to do that make you amazing entrepreneurs. So I just want you to like take a minute, breathe that in, and be like, I have so much to bring to the table because I'm an immigrant. I really want you to hear me when I say that, my friends. This is a critical asset that you can leverage, and so congratulations. All right, so Julie, you entered a market where there's very little products on the shelf, and you've taken advantage of a couple programs like at Amazon that are sort of unique and opening the door for you. Can you tell us a little bit about those opportunities and what it feels like to be like the only one?
I've been the only one my whole life, so I'm kind of used to that. But now I'm like the menopause woman, and the one with the silver hair, like that whole thing. So Amazon has a Black Business Accelerator, and I will just say, if any woman here is thinking, I'm too what? I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too broke, whatever, it's BS, okay? It's just, you gotta just step across the threshold. You're never too blank to chase your dream, period. Maybe you're too tired, that's the only thing. If you're too tired, then forget it, it's a lot of work. But beyond that, so there's a lot of opportunities out there. You gotta look for them, for women of color, they're out there. And especially now, and my girlfriend and I, who are just at a workshop because we're getting, she has a menopause tea, and we're trying to get them into Whole Foods and other natural retailers. And we're like, we better hurry up before this money dries up for women, but it's out there. So you got to just reach, like that Amazon program. There's a lot of accelerators out there. There are accounting firms that are sponsoring banks. Just go for it. Hello Alice, which How Women Invest in, is an incredible resource. So if you want to know about grants and workshops, it's online. Lots of free money there, people. So go check it out. Don't be afraid. There's a lot of small opportunities that add up. As a matter of fact, there's someone here from the SBDC. Where did you go? And I applied for the Dream Fund, and I got $5,000 from the California Dream Fund. So keep your eyes open. A lot of free money out there. There you are.
Free advising.
Free advising and free money. Woo-hoo, we like that.
Me too. So you've got to a really significant scale. What's next for you? Are you going public? Like, what's happening?
We are very focused on building the business. It feels always like getting started. At this point, we have worked with all the major districts on the West Coast, Oakland, San Francisco, LA, Seattle. And now our eyes are towards going Midwest and East Coast. So for us, it's about making it a default platform, and how many parents, schools, and people can bring the solution to.
Okay, I think what I just heard you say is like every stage feels like starting over again. And the truth is, it kind of is, right? It's such a different thing to be running the company at the size that you're running it. Just a whole different set of issues than when you're an earlier stage company. Who helps you reset, or what do you do to pivot every time you need to get to that next threshold?
It's a combination of things, quite a bit of self-reflection. I journal and constantly think about it. Advice from board or nudging from the board, your co-founders, your leadership. But sometimes, so for example, when pandemic hit, we were running 3 businesses, parallel businesses. We were doing B2C. We were doing small rides for schools. About what's next for us. And one of the ideas on the table was our platform would be most useful if we do 100% of the transportation for school district. Because the insight we had was the largest mass transit system, 27 million kids travel twice daily. But it's not your push button. Parents used to complain, we can track our package, we can track our and get their kids up. So we saw an opportunity at that time, and when pandemic hit, it was very hard because suddenly all the rights went away overnight. But to me, it was like very optimistic. Now I have an opportunity to completely take a new view this thing and how can we start working with the district in the direction we want to go. So during the pandemic, the large contracts and
All right, did you guys hear this? Like she said in the pandemic, all of her business, all of the, picking up kids, that went away. No one was taking their kids to school. And some of us would be like, oh no, it's over. And instead she's like, it was a great opportunity. Now I could lock down all the major contracts everywhere across the country, which is, that's an entrepreneur for you. That is what entrepreneurs do, right? It's like, all right, I'm turning this thing into an opportunity. All right, I'm getting the signal that it's time to actually take questions from the audience. So if anyone has questions for these entrepreneurs, please raise your hand. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep asking questions. All right, anybody else? Anybody have a question? Yes.
Julie, did you have any male investors in your policy?
Yes, I have two, but my criteria was if I had to explain what menopause was to you, you were out. I was just very clear about that. So two really cool guys who each came in with $10,000 each. They were like, yes, we get it, go.
Okay, so let's talk about size of money, size of investment. So one of the things that it feels like we see out there is there's a lot of people want to play, they want to lose, and they want to start to think about investing, but they're at very small dollar amounts. Now, when you first start with your friends and family, a $10,000 investment's great. But if a venture firm came to you and said, I'm going to put you through all this due diligence, and at the end of the day, maybe I'll give you $10,000, it doesn't feel very good, right? So let's talk a little bit about how critical it is that you have partners as investors who really step up and invest in significant ways, and what a difference that makes.
For me, it was really important that any of our investors were value-added partners because not all money is good money. So I wanted partners, primarily women, who understood the mission I was on, but could make introductions, could bring in their friends, had networks that we could plug product in right away. So that whatever that investment was really going to be worth 4, 10x what it was because of the value add. Plus, they have expertise. Many of them have expertise in the space, so they can act as advisors. So I would just encourage you to find people who can add value beyond the dollar, because you really can get dollars in a lot of places. You want that 7x, 10x bump from the value that goes with it.
So our venture firm, How Women Invest, on average invests $750,000. That's pretty significant in an early stage company. And we bring all of the power of this huge network that we have at How Women lead forward with us. And so that's an important thing to think about in this ecosystem, is significant real fuel. I have a request of everybody here. You all listening to me? Some of you are chatting. Everybody hear me? All right. This is what I want you to consider doing. Go on Amazon, buy 2 boxes of fudgy yummy chocolate Bossa bars, whether you're a woman in menopause or not. My husband eats way more than I do. And put them in your bag and take them with you. I know we're not all leaving our house that much, but give them to your friends and have it as a conversation starter. Certainly say, hey, I've heard this cool woman, Julie, let me tell you about this product. But literally start a conversation. Nobody talked to me about menopause. Nobody. It is such a problem that some of these things that are huge impact on women's lives, what is it? Doctors only get trained like 1 hour. 1 hour. Doctors train in 1 hour about menopause. It's one of the biggest life events we have. Has a massive impact on our health and literally our ability to thrive and sustain ourselves for the next. We're supposed to live another 50 years, so we better figure this thing out, right? Okay, Ritu, would you give us a couple tips for anybody who is how about this? somebody who wants to because we have a handful of entrepreneurs, but more potential investors, right? What would a tip be for them? Like, this is how you should think about looking at a company or a founder if they're going to be invested.
Personally, I also invest in companies, and I have seen the process too. I would say one thing that's said is founder market fit, not product market fit, but like it's Julie, how passionate the founder is about the idea and why does it matter to them? Because starting a company is completely irrational, and only if you are very passionate about the idea, you will stick to it and continue to do it. So that to me is very critical. Like people who are founding the company, can they sustain through it? The second thing is why now? Why is this company important now? And if it were successful, how big would it be?
Very exciting.
We talked about that $600 million. The same thing I was thinking about. Every single child goes to school every single day for almost like 13, 14, 15 years of their lives. And everywhere in the world. So think about how.
Are there any parents in the room? Okay. How can they get Zoom for their families? Is there something they can do to support you or make sure that this is where in their schools?
So today Zoom works with schools exclusively. So tell your schools about it if you want to.
Tell your schools.
The solution to your schools.
All right, Julie, I think we're almost out of time. Can you give us a couple tips? What would you say for someone who's thinking about starting a business to make sure that they sell it and make real money when they sell it?
All right, so first of all, I have this thing called, your internal GPS, and that if you get the whisper to do something, it's for you. Because other people get different whispers, they don't get the whisper you get, so trust yourself and go for it. Number 2, mindset is everything. It's hard. It's really challenging. It's possible what you believe about yourself, your identity, who you are. And that is really the most important thing, because when the going gets tough, when you believe that you have the capacity to grow and learn and figure it out, I say everything is figure outable, then that's the most important thing, because that's what keeps you from quitting. And that's what gets you to the finish line.
All right, we're at the end. Thank you both. We're at the end of our program, and this is what I want to remind you. You know how it feels so yummy to be in this room? It's just electric, and it feels so hopeful to be around these cool women entrepreneurs and really helping them and being part of the club. Jill.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
I would love to know from both of you, like, what would you tell your younger self?
What would you tell your younger self? Is that okay? Can we keep going?
Start sooner.
Start sooner.
Don't wait.
Start sooner and don't wait.
Trust yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait, can I say one thing? Since Jill waved her hand over there, she is an amazing kick-ass entrepreneur. Jill, do you have a Kickstarter, Kick Further? What is it? I want everybody to invest in Jill because she's open right now.
We fund her.
A We Funder right now. Do you like general sales?
Democratizes the flow of capital, so you don't have to be an accredited investor. You can invest $100 and be part of changing the world.
I invest in Jill's company, so really small amounts. She's doing incredible things. Go talk to her. So start where you are. Thank you.
Audience Q&A. I like
Do you want me to ask more audience questions? Is that what you're saying? Does anybody else in the audience have other questions for us?
Just ask.
Anything? So I had started to say, just think about the love and the energy and excitement in this room. What can you do to support a woman entrepreneur? I have to tell you, you get it back 100-fold. Jill has this company that has super cool wine, but every label, it's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg wine, it's Billie Jean King wine. Like her creativity is so fun. You buy her a case of wine from her, and then you get some Bossa bars, and you literally, that's the best holiday gift you can give to someone, because you got a story with it, right? So I want you to all think about what can you do to just be a champion, be part of the ecosystem of supporting women entrepreneurs. And maybe it's $100 on a We Funder campaign. Maybe it's encouragement of another woman entrepreneur, a woman who's starting and thinking about it, just saying, believe in yourself, do it earlier, get going. I want to tell you, it's one of the greatest gifts in life. Sunday, I'm having a little holiday party at the front porch. It's at 29th and Valencia, basically. I helped her start her company 20 years ago when I was running a microenterprise and microfinance organization that helped low-income women start their own businesses. 20 years later, she literally was on the list of the 100 things you have to try before you die, her fried chicken. And so just think about what a gift it is to just be a small part of someone's journey and see the creativity and the innovation. And I hope all of you are thinking about how can you either start something or invest in something. And so if I'd love for each of you to, please raise your hand if you have any other questions for us. But I would love for each of you to say, like, if someone was gonna have your back and really support you, today even, what does that look like? And maybe it's the friend, maybe it's money. What would that look like where you'd be like, this changed it for me?
Well, we are going out for a second round, so if anybody has $1.15 million that they want to give me tonight, I'll be standing right over there. So that would be the first thing. Telling your mom, your sister about Bossa Bars, just word of mouth is really important. I consider our product a talking stick for a really important conversation. And so share the love. I would really appreciate that. But can I just ask something? Is anyone here have a job, but thinking about starting anything on the side? It's a secret. Yeah, see, I know.
You won't tell.
I know. I never say side hustle because I don't like that word. But that could be tricky, I know. But I used to coach a lot of women that had companies on the side that were their dreams. Maybe they loved their job, but they were nervous about starting something. But I think it's really important if you have that little tap, just start it. Start really, really small. Start where you can do it in a manageable way. I'm happy to talk to anybody about it later who wants to know how to do it step by step. But don't be afraid because, in this day and age, we never know. You don't know what's going to happen in the world. And for a woman, our economic power to be able to make your own money is the most important thing in my book. I've been married 31 years. I have 3 kids. I love my husband. But I always liked making my own money. And for women, we lose men sooner in our lives. You don't want to be caught not knowing how to take care of yourself and your family. So I highly encourage you and all the cool men in here too. If you have that dream, this is your year. 2023 is going to be here in a minute.
No. Okay. So can you share with us sort of what is a recommendation or how somebody could really change your trajectory or support an entrepreneur like you? What action people can take here?
I would say so many people participated in my journey. It seems very simple when I say, we are a post-Series D company today. It has been 7+ years I've been on this journey, and hundreds of people in terms of advisors and early investors, recommendation, references, just being an ear out to just advise and listen out when I was in a very crucial or crucible moment or something. So there is so much you can do in terms of your money, your time, your resources, your connections, your network, everything. You will be surprised what a difference you can make to anybody's. And actually, to me, like when I talk to other entrepreneurs, I find it very therapeutic. I feel like, I've gone through it. I can quickly tell you that this is not worth stressing out, or this is how it's done. And I now realize why other people were doing it for me, because they could also find out, oh, we have learned it, we want to teach you something, we have already done it. So there is a tons of ways people can help out in your own way, and most important is encouragement to keep going on, be appreciative of the products, buy the products, refer the products. Those are the things for us.
Excellent. The gift of sisterhood. Okay, we're wrapping up. I want to just make a final invitation to all of you, and this is a countercultural invitation for you, my sisters, and the men who love us. Our culture isn't so great for women, as you've noticed, and sometimes because we grew up in this culture, we participate in it. We don't realize how it's not helping us. And so I want to ask you to consider 4 things. We call this a credo in my organization, How Women Lead. So 1, be fierce advocates of each other. Seriously, no mean girl behavior. That has got to go away. None of this, like, I don't know how many of you, people did it to Hillary Clinton, they're now doing it to Kamala Harris. This like tearing women down and tearing people apart. It's sort of a fun pastime. Stop. We can't do that anymore. We have to actually flip it around and be fierce advocates for each other. The second thing I want to invite you to consider doing, and the men do this better than we do. A lot of women's, if I say, who makes the most introductions for you? And most women tell me it's men. Because culturally, that's what men are sort of trained to do. So say yes and make introductions for other women. 3, our voices are not heard. You know this? Where you've been in a meeting before where you said something, no one listened, somebody's came up with the same idea a couple minutes later. We do it in all kinds of ways. We even do it on LinkedIn in the mornings, right? In the morning when you open up your LinkedIn, reinforce her voice when she speaks up. And now this is my 4th invitation. Are you guys ready? This is the hardest one for most of us. Be unabashedly visible yourself. I need you to step up, stand in your power, take up space. Man spread if you must. This is what I want you to think about. I have a daughter in her 20s. She needs to see you leading. She's taking her cues from you. If you are shrinking, if you're the behind the scenes person and won't take up space, what message are you giving my beautiful baby girl? Do it for her. I know it's kind of hard to do it for yourself. Be unabashedly visible. So with that, I want to thank Darlene and the whole GlobalSF team for being such fierce advocates for all of us women. Thank you for bringing us together. This is so much fun. I hope everybody has a wonderful